What's up gamers, welcome back to another episode of Video Game Gems. I'm Ginge the Ripper, let's play a game. Super Mario Wonder was a game I never expected out of Nintendo. The focus is on fun, something we haven't seen in a 2D Mario game in a long time. Let me finish. Since the release of New Super Mario Bros. On the DS, each of its successors felt the same, except for New Super Mario Bros. 2, that game was awesome. Nintendo gave Mario a different fly power-up in each game, but that's as far as their creativity went.
Time to fly. I got my cape. Nope. We use rupees now.
The levels were built around Mario's already established moveset. As such, each new installment was nothing more than a continuation of its predecessor rather than its own identity. Nintendo even stopped making 3D titles for a while after Galaxy 2. So what led to Super Mario Wonder? Why did Nintendo go out of their way to make a fun 2D Mario game? Reason number one were the fans. Until the Mario movie, the majority of the Mario community were not kids. They were us, the players who grew up with Mario back in his prime.
Hey kids, Mario! Am I right? Is he from Five Nights at Freddy's?
Children still played Mario games, but he was never their first choice. So, with a larger portion of the community being adults who knew what they wanted out of a Mario game, eventually sales of 2D Mario games dropped and Nintendo had to start listening. Reason number two were the Mario Maker games. Players could build and play their own levels, and we got creative. Here's one I made in Mario Maker 2, inspired by Luigi's Mansion. Go check it out. With an endless amount of fan-made Mario levels, the majority of which were more fun than anything Nintendo had released in years, a new bland, generic 2D Mario game wasn't gonna cut it.
Look! Mario's riding a flying guitar! Please love us again!
If Nintendo wanted to make another 2D Mario game, they would have to try something new. After Super Mario Odyssey, the next game was given no limitations and no due date. As a result, we got Super Mario Wonder. Nintendo wanted fans to know that Wonder was different right out of the gate by giving us a roster of 12 playable characters. The most notable being Princess Daisy, a character originally created because Mario needed a new objective to work toward in his first handheld game. She was never meant to be more than a placeholder, and as such, she never returned in another mainline Mario game. Yet, here she is, not as a cameo, but as a playable character.
Gross! Why did I turn yellow?
Okay, I have to digress a bit and talk about how ironic Daisy's inclusion to Super Mario Wonder is. All the way back in 2019, Nintendo ported Mario's 2D Wii U game to Switch as New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, and wanted to make Peach a playable character. However, like all 2D Mario games, your goal was to save Peach. So, how did they work around this? By adding Toadette and a new power-up that turns her into Princess Peach. Naturally. Nintendo didn't want to add Daisy because she's a princess from another kingdom, and it wouldn't make sense for her to be in the Mushroom Kingdom. You know, besides the fact that it's Peach's birthday in this game, and Daisy could have been there celebrating with the rest of the crew. Yeah, so Nintendo was laughed at for this, and they had to learn their lesson the hard way.
Please marry me.
Regardless, it's nice to finally see some love for Daisy from Mario's mainline games. Other noteworthy characters are the original 4 Yoshis from Super Mario World, the Nabbit came back from New Super Mario Bros. U, and even Lord is a playable character. The Yoshis are rideable by other players and don't take damage. They don't retain their color-specific abilities from Super Mario World, rather their mechanics are similar to the Yoshi's Island games, minus the egg throwing. The Nabbit plays like the redundant characters. He can't use power-ups, but like the Yoshis, he also doesn't take damage.
Hey, switch shirts with me. No. He's a witch!
The designs and animations of the characters are reminiscent of the artwork found in the instruction manual of Super Mario World. There are small details like this found across the game that are fun to discover while playing. Nintendo flipped the Mario formula on its head with the Wonder Flowers. These bad boys are power-ups that affect the world around the characters instead of the characters directly. There's one in every level that transforms the stages into wacky obstacle courses. Sometimes you'll walk on walls, engage in musical numbers, morph into objects, and so much more.
Hey, what does this flower do? No, wait, stop! Not again.
You don't have to collect the Wonder Flowers to beat the levels, so if you're not trying to 100% the game, you can ignore them completely, but they're a fun way to keep the levels from getting stale. I was a little worried about the talking flowers at first. I thought their primary inclusion was to help casual players find secrets, in which case, are they really secrets anymore? However, the majority of flowers spit out charming nonsense as you work your way through the levels, and the ones that shout out tips just tell the player something they're already aware of. You can shut them up in the settings if they get too annoying, but personally, I enjoyed them.
You'll never take over the world with a YouTube channel.
The characters don't retain their unique abilities. Luigi can't flutter jump, Peach and Daisy can't hover, and the Toads aren't fast. Instead, badges were included to equip the players with various buffs. That way, all the players have the same abilities instead of one overshadowing another.
Guys, look! I found the Shut Up badge.
The second type indirectly affect the players. There's a coin magnet, one that gives you coins for killing enemies, badges that spawn specific power-ups, things like that. And the third type of badges are bittersweet badges. These badges give your character a special ability, as well as a handicap. For example, there's one that lets you run fast but you can't stop running, a similar badge for high jumping, one that makes you invisible, and more. Oh, and before I forget, you actually get a pretty cool reward for 100%ing the game. I won't spoil it for you guys, but unlike Sticker Star and New Super Mario Bros. 2, it's actually worth it. Seriously though, do you guys remember the new Super Mario Bros. 2 promotions? Every time Nintendo promoted the game, you won't believe this awesome reward you get for spending an unreasonable amount of time collecting 1 billion coins. And then it's just a gold statue of Mario on the title screen. Seriously, Nintendo, if you're going to hype up a reward, make it worth my time. Nintendo refined the multiplayer mechanic in Wonder. Players can now run through each other instead of bouncing off one another. You can't pick up players like you could in past games, but this little change more than makes up for it.
I'm not editing that.
If you're playing online, other online players will appear as ghosts so you can see what they're up to. Sometimes they'll help you find secrets or hidden areas in the overworld. If you're playing with a team of less than 4, ghosts will appear to fill out your party in the levels. Just like the overworld, they can help you find secrets and even pick you up if you die. Players can also leave standees on the map that can revive players or reveal secrets. Players can only leave one standee in each room, so you'll have to think carefully about where you want to put it.
Ah!
Players can purchase different standees for each character in the shops to cycle through as they play. 3 new power-ups were added to Wonder. The first is everyone's favorite, the Elephant Fruit. Unlike animal power-ups in past Mario games, the Elephant Fruit morphs the characters' bodies instead of putting them in suits. Elephant Mario can use his trunk to melee attack enemies, as well as water plants that will either spew out items or open hidden paths. It's weird that Mario and Luigi are both gray elephants when everyone else are their respective colors, but I digress. The second new power-up is the Bubble Flower, giving characters the ability to blow bubbles. The bubbles can be used to kill enemies or reach higher places, which is ironic since like 4 of the other badges allow you to do the same thing more easily, but whatever. Unlike Fireball Mario, the bubbles fire straight ahead and have a wider range, making them significantly more useful for killing hordes, especially while using a Wonder Flower. The final new power-up is the Drill Mushroom, allowing characters to drill through the ceiling and under enemies. It's a fun power-up to use in those difficult levels. Up until the final showdown with Bowser, Bowser Jr. is the boss of each world and uses the Wonder Power to mix up the battles. I assumed that's who the Blue Bowser was when I first saw the trailer, but I can dream.
Ew, I'm blue now? Oh well, at least I don't have jaundice. Shut up, man!
Instead of Nintendo's traditional Save Princess Peach song and dance, Bowser steals the 7 Chaos Emeralds, Royal Seeds, to turn himself into a castle, because why not? In order to stop Bowser from producing the Big Wonder and taking over the kingdom, Mario and Co. must take back the Royal Seeds and infiltrate Bowser's stronghold. Does Super Mario Wonder have any flaws? Not many, but there are a few worth mentioning. It would have been nice if Rosalina was also a playable character. It's not a big issue, but if Nintendo's going out of their way to include Daisy, they might as well go all the way and complete the trio. This next one is a pet peeve, so take it with a grain of salt. While I did appreciate the talking flowers, there are times when they repeat themselves. Once again, this isn't a big issue, but this makes their dialogue generic, and thus makes the flowers generic. With only one voice actor for all the flowers, they should have added fewer repeats, if any. The overworld in Super Mario Wonder feels unbalanced. Some worlds have more to explore than others. At first, that sounds normal. The further in you go, the bigger the world, and the more there is to explore. That's how video games work. But that's not how Super Mario Wonder works. Each time you enter a new world, it's a toss-up whether or not you'll have more or less levels and secrets than the previous world. Nothing is consistent, and as such, there were times when I felt like I didn't spend enough time in a world.
Alright, we've reached the Paper Kingdom. Sweet, and we're back.
What?
For the first time ever in the history of video games, I can say that I enjoyed the desert world more than any of the others. The desert had several mirage levels you had to uncover by walking around the desert or by finding hidden buttons. The Haunted Forest had a similar system where you had to discover levels in the fog to keep things interesting, but they weren't as abundant as the desert world. Finally, the majority of levels are created with solo couch play in mind. Countless levels have platforming sections that require quick-paced precision timing designed for a one-player experience. In most multiplayer platforming games, you'll find one or two of these levels on your journey to test your skills, but Super Mario Wonder is covered in them, creating a less than desirable co-op experience. Nintendo really went above and beyond to make Super Mario Wonder a fun game, but is it a gem? Super Mario Wonder is a giant step forward in the 2D Mario games, but after Mario made the jump to 3D, 2D Mario games are nothing more than downgrades. Even if we disregard all the flaws, when I imagine the potential of Super Mario Wonder as a 3D game, 2D doesn't do it justice. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed every minute of Super Mario Wonder. Oh, by the way, I do enjoy all the games I review, even the ones that I don't call gems, unless I specifically say that I hate the games. In my opinion, Super Mario Wonder is not a gem. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching, and keep on gaming.